Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the surprise all-star edition of the Boyers Not Ballers podcast. I'm Henry.
And I'm CJ.
Well, CJ, we just finished watching the NBA All-Star game. Team LeBron defeated Team Durant 170 to 150, and it was pretty much from a competitive standpoint, a snooze fest all around. A lot of great highlights, some great dunks. Giannis went 16 for 16 from the field, some deep threes from Dame and Steph, but the game itself was not that close or entertaining.
No, my first takeaway is that I hope the NBA is going to help the fund that Team Durant was playing for, throw them a little more money because they got no extra dough from that game. It was an absolute beatdown by Team LeBron. LeBron didn't even really play. He played 13 minutes in the first half, didn't play in the second half. So he got his rest. And frankly, he wasn't needed. He did a great job drafting. And from there, I mean, Team Durant was decimated by injury. They didn't have Durant.
Yeah, they didn't have their best player, Kevin Durant. They didn't have their second best player, Joel Embiid.
They didn't have one of their best reserves in Ben Simmons. So we knew things were going to be dicey, but it was an absolute beatdown. I mean, Kawhi Leonard, not really a great game for him. I only say that because I had money on him being.
Kawhi did not look like he was playing that hard. Really, the only one for Team Durant that looked like he was actually giving it his all was Kyrie, and maybe Tatum.
Kyrie.
Tatum played hard as well, but Kyrie looked like he was there to win.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but we're going to break down the game, laugh about that a little bit. We'll also get into the skills, three-point and dunk contest. Henry, we were right about something for once. You were right about two things, actually. I was right about one thing. So we'll get into that. Henry, real quick, what was your favorite part of those three events?
I would say, obviously, the three-point shootout. I think the three-point shootout has supplanted the dunk contest as the marquee event of what usually is an all-star Saturday evening, but pre-all-star game this year. It was Curry, man. Stephen Curry.
That's interesting. So we'll get into that as well. Should be fun. This will be a shorter podcast because there's not much other news to get to. It's just the All-Star breakdown. So have this with your Monday morning coffee and we'll have some fun with you as well. You ready to rock and roll, buddy?
Let's do it.
Hit it.
So, CJ, what was the defining highlight of that game? Because as we elucidated earlier, the game itself was not that entertaining. What was the best moment for you?
I think it's two moments. I think a lot of people were talking about how Steph and Dame were going to be on the same team and how that was going to affect dynamics. I think the shot of the first half was Steph Curry basically pulling up from half court and hitting it. And then the highlight of the second half was Dame calling game, ending it on a half court three, pointing at his watch, and then Steph Curry waving, doing the Dame Lillard wave goodbye. So that to me were the two best moments of the whole thing. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I would say that there was a stretch in the second quarter, I believe. Lillard hit like a 37-footer. Then Team Durant went down, I think, scored a quick bucket, and then Curry came right back down, hit another 37-footer right back after Lillard, which is really fun to watch. Those two guys were the highlight of. I mean, listen, Giannis was great. Well, Giannis was the MVP. Listen, I'm proven right. You're proven wrong. You said Giannis might have been the last pick in the draft. He wasn't. He was the first. You said Giannis was overrated. Giannis goes 16 for 16 and wins the MVP.
If you can watch us on YouTube, you can see my facial reaction to this. I'm covering my baby Grogu hat right now because I have to give Giannis credit. He was 16 of 16 from the field. He was funny.
3 threes. He knocked down 3 threes as well.
Okay, 2 banked threes. I could have hit a banked three.
Oh, yeah, don't talk about banked threes after Tatum banked in the one at the beginning of the season.
I'm sorry, that was in real time. Okay, that's different than All-Star Game. An All-Star Game bank is like when you put money under your couch. It's not reliable, and we shouldn't get into it. An in-game bank is legitimate. Anyways, ignoring that whole thing, I will give Giannis credit. He was funny when he was mic'd up. He was funny in the post-game interview. He was playing basketball with his son, which Tatum always does with Deuce. I like that move. I respect that move. I give Giannis a very hard time.
Yes, you do.
I'm starting to wonder if Mike Trout is just a loser and Giannis is getting cooler.
I
I'm wondering
understand
that.
your point about not liking watching Giannis play because I understand like the style of play is not the most aesthetically beautiful. Um, but I raise objection to your point that he's the Mike Trout because Mike Trout has no personality. Like Giannis is funny, he's
Yeah.
engaging, he's charming, he's charismatic. Like Giannis is he's got a real personality to him. Although you may find his game boring, him as a person, he is not boring. He's funny and he's entertaining.
And
And he's a really great guy.
he is a good guy. And he was great tonight. So I gotta tip my hat to him. He played incredibly well. I think the Team Durant, I want to talk about Team Durant for a sec.
Mhm.
You know, Kyrie played really well and he came out hot. Tatum tried to hang around, but Claw was pretty much useless. Bradley Beal did well. Zion missed a bunch of dunks early.
Yeah.
Looked
You could tell he looked a little nervous. And
looked
he
a
did
little
not play
nervous.
much the second half.
No, he wasn't that great out there. I mean, they interviewed him on the bench, which I thought was a weird move. Because if you interview Steph Curry and Chris Paul, like that makes sense. But if you interview Zion, like that doesn't really check out to me. So that was a little weird. But I thought, Team LeBron was just light years better. I mean, even Luka didn't play his best. Jokic was killing it. Jalen Brown played really well, I thought, had a 4-point play. Sabonis, who we'll get to in a little bit, was fine. It just you kind of felt bad for Team Durant because at first you're like, okay, if Team Durant plays hard, they can make this interesting. But once the starting five for Team Durant went out in the second and like didn't really come back, it was pretty much over. I mean,
Yeah,
they
they
got
kind of threw in the
overrun.
towel, but it's also the All-Star game, so you can't blame them for throwing in the
And
towel.
and you have Steph and Dame shooting the ball on the same team. I
I
mean,
mean, come on. Lights
that's
out.
tough. I think
Lights
James
out.
Harden did his best to keep him in there, but I mean, you're missing Embiid in the paint. Ben Simmons, you're not there for the defense, and you're missing Kevin Durant. So I think.
Well, Simmons was on Team LeBron. Simmons wasn't on Team Durant.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
but
That's
but
my bad.
they
But
had Devin Booker.
they
Then
had
Devin
Devin
Booker
Booker
was out.
who was missing. So, and Donovan Mitchell. Let's talk about Donovan Mitchell for a sec. We talked about this with the Utah disrespect. We talked about this a little bit in the last pod. Did you see his interview where he was like, "I don't give a damn what LeBron says" or something? Did you see
Hmm.
that?
Yeah.
His Wi-Fi, what was that? I mean, like, so we
I
got.
remember seeing the connection and being like, "Hold on, that's 1990s dial-up."
It's like we were listening to a college game the other day together, and it sounded like the play-by-play guy was calling in on his phone.
Because he literally was calling in on his phone.
Like, if you were an NBA player, you got to have like 5G. You got to have like the best service. Like
Yeah.
I think it was my brother sent me the clip, and I was like, "Oh, it's Joey Swass. He's being dramatic." And then Donovan Mitchell looks like he's on Zoom with us, which he can be if he wants to come visit and chat with us. But I just wanted to bring that up. Donovan Mitchell, I officially feel bad for
Interesting.
because he gets clowned, and I don't
He
think he
does get
deserves it.
clowned. He gets clowned for being in Utah, and but then again, so did Stockton and Malone. I think it's just the nature of playing basketball in Utah. Speaking of Utah, I just want to give a quick shout out. Really happy to see Mike Conley finally make an All-Star game for the first time in his career. He's been basically a borderline All-Star for almost his entire career in Memphis, and he never could quite make it because the West would always be so strong at the guard position. And he wasn't an original uh, member of the team. He replaced Devin Booker, who got scratched for a knee issue. But it was really nice to see that he's going to get NBA All-Star on his resume because everything that I've read and seen that's something that he desperately wanted, and he got it. And he didn't do much in the game, but he didn't play very much. I think he was just really basking it all in and kind of appreciating the fact that, oh man, I was drafted in 2007. I've been playing for 14 years now, and I'm finally an all-star. I did it. It's all worth it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I was happy for Mike Conley. I think I
Very
feel bad
happy
for
for
Mike.
him.
I think I feel bad for him too. I think Utah gets clowned because of Gobert, and people hold a grudge against Gobert for what happened last year. I don't think Donovan Mitchell deserves to get clowned, and I don't think Mike Conley deserves to get clowned. And I think for Mike Conley too, he was in the game. He participated in the 3-point contest, did very well. lost by a nose, but he still lost, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I was a little bit disappointed in the All-Star game as a whole. I'll say that. I think
Mhm.
switching off my poor Mike Conley, poor Donovan Mitchell take, last year's All-Star game was awesome. It was one of the better ones I remember watching.
Amazing.
Incredible
So
game.
much fun.
This year, I don't know if I blame who to blame. Like, I think when we watched it and we saw who Durant drafted versus who LeBron drafted, we were kind of like, this is going to be bad. But I didn't think it would have been this bad of a blowout, like a 20
I'll
point
tell you who to
loss.
blame. Blame Kevin Durant.
Well, the thing is, I want to blame Kevin Durant, but like he couldn't have predicted Embiid would not play,
That's true.
but
That's true.
he knew he wasn't going to play. And so,
Yeah. You're already at a disadvantage at that point when your best player, ostensibly the captain, isn't playing.
yeah.
So
So I guess we have to blame Durant, who Durant wasn't even there. I didn't even see him.
yeah, I guess they were just trying to avoid having unnecessary people there
Mm.
because with COVID restrictions, and if you don't absolutely have to be there, then why be there?
Correct. Side note, I'm in my new room right now and the lighting is so bad. So I literally feel like Paul Revere. I have this candle next to my computer as like a light source. So I'm like trashing NBA All Stars for like
Yeah,
not playing hard enough, and I'm sitting here by candlelight doing it. So who the fuck am I?
you
Um,
should really do some introspection.
I really
I would
should.
just like to say, Chris Paul did have 16 assists. I think he set the all-time All-Star game record for career assists. He passed Magic Johnson, which was cool to see.
Yeah, shout out Chris Paul. Yeah, I knew he had to get 4, and I'm pretty sure he definitely got the 4 he needed. So
He had the second most minutes on Team LeBron. He played 31 minutes.
also
Chris Paul was out there.
shout out to Chris Paul and Steph going back to back on alley oops like that. Just
Yeah, Chris Paul and Steph Curry back-to-back dunks was
and Kyrie dunked. I mean, if Isaiah
yeah.
Thomas played in that game, maybe he would have dunked. Like that's crazy. It's just
short Kings winning.
short Kings winning. Do we want to switch gears and kind of get into
Well,
the competition stuff, or do you have more to say?
well, I just want to say one thing about
Mhm.
seeing LeBron and Steph Curry on the court together was just how much they enjoyed playing with each other, and it just got me thinking about like again, it's very very wishful thinking, but what kind of world would we be in if LeBron James and Steph Curry had been playing professional basketball on the same team for years? Would would the league just have to fold? Because truly, if that would
two
be the
kid,
greatest duo of all time, no
two kids from
question.
Akron. Two kids from
Two
Akron.
kids from Akron. And LeBron actually tweeted out about Steph Curry and how happy he was to play with him. He said, literally, this is breaking news minutes ago. Finally got to share the floor with at Steph Curry 30. Well overdue, and I loved every single second. And now here comes the kicker. Hashtag greatest shooter of all time. Hashtag changed how the game is played by himself alone. Hashtag respect beyond words. Hashtag just some kids born in Akron. LeBron, you got to calm down with the hashtags. Like, that's too many. That's too many and too long of hashtags. But I digress. I agree with him fully. It was really awesome to see Steph Curry and LeBron, pretty much the two defining players of this era of basketball, finally lace it up on the same team, which was crazy that they had never played before. I mean, they had been on opposing all-star teams the times in the past due to East versus West, and then Steph was the captain and LeBron was the other captain in the past. And when Steph played on Team USA in 2016, that was the first year LeBron didn't play on Team USA for the Olympics. And and there was a pass LeBron threw from the corner, like a bounce pass that hit Curry basically right in the chest for like a 30-foot three that he hit. And man, what art we were deprived of by never getting to see that over the course of a season and years.
I kept a straight face during that whole rant because if you hashtag that long of hashtags and that many hashtags, I just can't stand for that, and I won't
I
stand for
said
that.
that. Listen, I am LeBron James chief defender, but LeBron, that's the hashtags are a bit excessive.
Yeah, it's too many. That's too many. All right, let's switch gears then to get into the other big news of the night. Um, Harry and Kate. So I wanted to start with the Palace is racist, and they were able to get out. And I'm happy for them that they were able to escape. But I actually need to watch a little more because I saw a lot of it on Twitter.
Yeah,
And
it was
I have a
side by side competing on my Twitter feed with the NBA All-Star game.
yes. And I have a Twitter time limit because of it's Lent and I didn't give up anything for Lent. So I limit how much I'm on Twitter. And so I got locked out basically. So I
Ooh.
need to go back on. But I got the Spark Notes version of it. And the fact that Oprah interviewed it means it's definitely electric. So I'm looking forward to catching up on that. All right. Other news, not as big as that. We were right about Domantas Sabonis. He
We called
wins,
it, baby. We called it.
beats Vucevic, who we've been clowning all week, beats him in the
Big
skills.
men rule the skills challenge. You always got to bet on a big man because the guards, they're too cocky when they come into it. They're thinking, "Oh, what could this 7-footer do that I can't?" And they
It's
go
win,
in thinking, "Yeah,
win.
big guys
That's
win, man. Big guys win.
so
Big
that
guys
was
win it
a pretty straightforward. Let's talk about the dunk contest, though.
for
I hate
sure."
to we were right about Sabonis. Pats on the back. The dunk contest. I watched it with James, one of our roommates. It was the worst dunk contest I've ever seen in my entire life.
I don't know about that. It was
Oh,
bad. It was definitely one of the lesser ones that I can remember. I remember the one Zach Levine one, not the epic duel with him and Aaron Gordon, like the one after that.
but still, Zach Levine was at least electric.
That's
Like
true.
there was not the whole thing got off to a weird start because um, the first dunk was ranked too low.
The
Like they
first
gave
dunk was the best dunk of the night and got one of the lowest
it
scores.
got like
That
the
was an
lowest.
awesome dunk. It wasn't like
Captains were like, "What the fuck? Like, what do you want me to do, guys?"
it
And then
wasn't a Vince Carter honey dip like incredibly iconic dunk, but come on. I think they gave that a 44. That was probably the best dunk of the night. And
and then Anthony Simmons or Anthony Simons, excuse me, like
Simons.
Simons going up and like um getting the ball off the hoop was so funny because I love listening to the TNT guys during the dunk contest. And Kenny the Jet Smith, I just wanted to highlight this, like must write jokes before the dunk contest because I feel like the Jet isn't that funny when he's on inside the NBA. He kind of lets like Chuck and Shaq do their thing. During the All-Star game and during the dunk contest, the Jet is absolutely electric. He is absolutely hysterical. Like to the point where he took off his jacket for the dunk contest. He is absolutely hysterically funny. He's so energetic. He's so fun to listen to. My favorite part of the dunk contest every year is Kenny the Jet Smith, and I feel like a lot of people don't give him that credit. So I just want to shout him out.
Oh, I love Kenny. Kenny grew up right around where my dad grew up in Queens, near
Yeah,
Astoria. Kenny the Jet Smith, the
he's epic.
Queens native, and he's
So
great. Kenny's great.
so funny during the dunk contest. Anyways, I thought Obi Toppin's rip off Levine dunk was not that great. And did you see Obi Toppin jumped over Julius Randle and his father?
Yeah. Did you see the highlights of his father? His
Dude,
father could freaking throw down.
Dunker's Delight. What an
Dunker's
absolute
Delight. That was his
crazy
nickname.
nickname that
That's
is.
awesome.
Like,
I think they should have. I think Chuck or Kenny said this. Oh, no, not Chuck. Chuck wasn't on it. Said they should have had the dad dunk it
Kenny
and
said this,
Obi
yeah.
catch it after the dunk and then throw it back in.
I'm
Like
pretty sure
that would have been awesome.
D Wade thought Obi Toppin's dad was just like a player, just like a random guy that got pulled out of the crowd. I mean, Dunker's Delight. There's a marketing executive at like Trader Joe's that is kicking themselves right now because they can't use the term Dunker's Delight because now Obi Toppin and his dad should trademark that because
Mhm.
that was, I mean, his highlights were crazy. And also, so I saw the videos. What kind of game was that? Because I think it was like Obi Toppin was playing. He was like 9, and then Dunker's Delight was like dunking on like children. But I didn't get if there were other adults he was
Got
dunking
to
on.
teach him at an early age to get dunked on.
I just didn't really get that part of Dunker's Delight. I thought Obi Toppin's last dunk stunk, and I
Yeah.
thought the Anthony Simons to win it when he faked kissing the rim. Like you have to kiss the rim. And the fact that they thought he did, and then he probably could have if he was just like a little. I think if you tongue like Lightning McQueen when he crosses the finish line and it's
just slightly
like
tongue
that,
it.
if you just caught it with your tongue, 50. You don't even have to kiss it. A little tongue touch, a little
Hey,
got
but
it.
you forgetting we're living in COVID times and we have to be
Well,
mindful of
I didn't
that.
tell him to kiss the rim, but he implied that he
All
wanted to
right.
kiss the rim.
All right.
You know what I
Well,
mean? The best dunk, though, actually, though, real quick, Anthony Simons, when he did the T-Mac dunk, that was actually the best dunk. And it was also the second time T-Mac got shouted out. The Jaylen Brown wore T-Mac shoes in honor
Yeah.
of Tracy McGrady tweeting at him. And then
Yeah, back
we
at high
had
school, I
him
think,
getting a
right?
shout out. Yeah, and then we got him getting a shout out
Mm-hmm.
for Anthony Simons. I mean, that kid can jump so high. He's only had like 2 dunks this year, I think I
Yeah.
read. So like,
Anthony Simons doesn't play much, which kind of gets me to my broader point about the dunk contest this year and how it was a snooze fest because they're not big names because Toppin and Stanley are both rookies, and Anthony Simons is a second-year player or a third-year player, and either way, like he's a bench rider for the Blazers. You didn't get at the time, Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine weren't like stars, but they were well known around the NBA. And if you're an NBA fan, you know about them. These guys were basically unknown to a great deal of the audience. And I think that was part of the reason why it wasn't that good. You good?
can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. I just keep getting weird stuff from Zoom.
Huh.
We'll have to pause this for a sec. So,
Yeah, let me pause.
to your point, yeah, I think the whole point of the dunk contest is like getting the big names to participate, and that's where the NBA always seems to fall like a little bit short of late. Is that they can't get like the Zions, the Jaylen Browns, the LeBrons, because these guys are great players, but they're also great dunkers, but they need their bodies for the full length of the
Yeah.
season. So like, gone are the days it feels like of like the Michael Jordans, the Tracy McGrady's, the Vince Carters, like those guys that were stars and throwing it down. Like it feels like we're past those days, which is fine because there have been some incredible dunk contests of late. This year's just lacked. There was no creativity. There was no like, oh my god, he's gonna like at least like even the Blake Griffin one with the Kia was kind of stupid, but at least that's like, oh my god, he's jumping a
It had
car.
pizzazz to it.
Yeah, there's a little. I mean, if the only pizzazz factor is like putting on a jersey and bringing a mini hoop you can buy at Target, I don't think that's a great dunk contest. But
Yeah, I agree.
where there was pizzazz, and you said at the beginning of the lead in Henry, you think that the 3-point contest has overtaken the dunk contest. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
I don't know if I'm willing to go with that just yet. However, it's definitely closer than I thought because the 3-point contest was excellent this year. It was
Yes, it
really,
was. It
really
was.
fun. And
I was correct in that prediction
I
as
was
well.
saying you
I
predicted
got
Steph.
Sabonis and Steph.
I went
I predicted
Sabonis.
Team LeBron to win, so I was undefeated. I didn't pick a dunk contest winner because I didn't really
I went
know.
Sabonis in D Book, and D Book didn't play obviously.
Yeah,
So
obviously didn't.
thoughts on Steph, and he had a great shooting night in the game too. He had that crazy corner shot where he turned his back. Thoughts on him in the 3-point contest?
He's just a level above everyone else. He really is, and those were all very good 3-point shooters. As I said, I don't think any. I said this on the last pod that I don't think any of them were like considered snipers. Like you didn't get a Joe Harris in there or another. I guess Klay Thompson's injured, but like Duncan Robinson, those were all like elite 3-point shooters. I don't think you had any of those, but you had 5 really good 3-point shooters. Otherwise, well above average NBA 3-point shooters, and Steph just looked like he's playing a different game. Like his shots just don't look like the shots of everyone else. Like Mike Conley nearly gave Steph a run for his money, nearly won the thing, but you just watch Mike Conley shoot or Zach LaVine shoot or Jaylen Brown shoot, and it's not Steph.
Tatum,
It's not Steph.
Donovan Mitchell. Tatum looked nice tonight. I thought
Yeah,
Jaylen
he
Brown.
did.
I'm happy Jaylen Brown got the press. I don't think Jaylen Brown should have participated, but I'm happy he got the press.
Yeah.
You're right, though. With Steph, every shot he takes looks like an NBA 2K when you get perfect and it's green.
Yeah.
Every shot looks like that. It's the perfect arc, the perfect release. And the fact that he came in like, I'm going to run this thing. And so the fact that he put up 30 plus in the first round and then one in the last round, like Larry Bird
On the last
shot, money ball.
Mm-hmm.
You can't script that any better. And for a night that was kind of lacking the crazy pizzazz, Steph Curry absolutely delivered it.
And Steph's a big time player. Steph's box office. He gets butts in seats and he gets eyes on televisions. And he showed tonight and frankly throughout this whole season that hey, We can't forget about how insanely special of a player he is. And just because the team around him is not nearly what it was in past years, like you can't overlook the fact that Steph Curry is still one of the 5 or 6 best players in the league and one of the 20 best players of all time.
Yeah, he was awesome. I mean, he was definitely missed last year, and he reasserted himself tonight for sure. I thought it was interesting though. He's been in 7 3-point competitions. He's only won two. His last one came in 2015, so it's been a while since he won it, and I was happy for him. It felt like this was his to win. There was a lot
Yeah,
of talk that
just
like,
because of judging the field as well. Like I wouldn't have been as confident in his chances if the other 3-point shooters were Joe Harris, Duncan Robinson, Clay Thompson, Malcolm Brogdon, like true like guys who like shoot like consistent 41, 42 plus percent. But so I think everybody kind of knew that Steph was in a league of his own amongst this group at least.
yeah, I would agree with that. But even still, if you think you're in a league of your own, you can take your foot off the gas a little bit. He did not do that. And then I wanted to raise one last point to you. In After the 3-point contest, there was a debate between, it was like Reggie Miller, D Wade, and Kenny the Jet Smith.
Can I just mention how funny it was that for the 3-point contest, they took Shaq off of commentary, put Reggie Miller on, and then after the 3-point contest, took Reggie Miller off and bring Shaq back on. And he said, like, "Oh, you don't want the big man to talk about how to shoot." And Ernie said, "In order to make that set, you have to have had hit at least 2 career NBA 3-pointers, and Shaq only hit one."
I can't even believe Shaq hit one. First of all, Shaq's fit tonight was awesome. We should put that in Friday
Mhm,
fits. But anyways, they were debating who do you want taking the last shot of a game, and it was
mhm,
between. Kenny said it was Steph,
mhm.
and then I'm not sure if it was D Wade or Reggie. I can't remember
It
who
was
said.
Wade. Wade said it.
What about Damian Lillard?
Yeah.
My question to you is, who do you take? You have one shot, one guy, and the distinction is they said on air, it was just to get a bucket. It's not necessarily to get a three. So if you need a
Mhm.
shot, who do you want having the ball?
I'm gonna take Curry. If the shot is a step back 3-pointer for the win, there's not a human being to ever play basketball that I would take before Damian Lillard. But if you need a shot, Steph is a more creative ball handler, has better finishing moves around the rim, can make a variety of higher degree difficulty layups and finishes around there. I would take Steph. But again, it's really close. It's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. They're both amazing.
That's so interesting because your take is my take, but I have it flipped. Like I think if
Really
Steph, you want the three ball down, you take him. But if you just want a bucket, any kind of bucket, I think Damian Lillard can get his shot
interesting.
better than Steph can, in my opinion. So we actually have the same take, just the different person
Mm,
fulfilling said take. But all in all, All Star Weekend happened. Should it have happened? That's a debate for another day. I think all in all, though, with everything going on, there was a lot of money raised for HBCUs tonight.
hmm
They managed to keep it relatively safe. Again, we have two players came in contact with COVID-19 from tracing, but all in all, the NBA was able to get the most out of what will be a All Star Weekend that I was going to say we'll never forget because of COVID,
Yeah.
but also in a lot of ways might actually be somewhat forgettable. Like there'll
Yeah,
be
I was
aspects
about to
of it that
say
were
like
absolutely forgettable.
it was a pretty mediocre all around all-star experience. And I think that might be good because I think people kind of want to forget everything that's happened over the last year
Yeah.
because it's just been so tragic. And yeah,
No, I would agree with that. But it's interesting this week when right after when we come out with our Friday pod, it'll be the 1 year anniversary of when the NBA shut
yeah,
down because of COVID.
crazy.
So it's crazy to think that we're here. But it was fun to kind of watch these guys get
Yeah.
together. It looks like a lot of them had a good time and they raised a lot of money for a good cause. So any last words to add, my friend?
I would just like to get your quick opinion.
Yeah.
Could official now Blake Griffin was bought out and has agreed to sign with the Brooklyn Nets for the rest of the season. Does this change anything in your mind?
I think the Nets are in really good shape. I think they'll come out of the East. Um, this doesn't really change my mind. But what I will say is it worries me because when we get to buyout season and like
Hmm.
trade season more, the Nets might run away with this
It's
thing.
it's just gonna be any veteran who makes a little bit too much money who wants to win a championship is gonna sign with Brooklyn. That seems like what's gonna that the case is gonna be, and I don't think it has a big impact because I think Blake as a player is not anywhere near the level he used to be, obviously, but I don't see a path where he can get anywhere near that level again. I think he's nothing more than an inefficient small ball five or could run some high pick and roll point forward kind of stuff. I don't think he moves the meter anymore, but he's a big name.
He's a big name. They'll be able to market some stuff with him. He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
In terms of his play, he can shoot the three ball, he can pass, he can do more, but he doesn't. The more that he can do is less than what he can do, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense. Like he can do a little more, but I saw a great thing that when he signs with this new team, his first possession, he should do like this crazy windmill dunk. It was all just like a scheme to get out of
Yeah,
Detroit.
I
So,
saw the as if have you ever seen The Usual Suspects?
mhm.
That scene when he walks away with the limp and then you see him like slowly walk more and more normal, and that's going to be
Yeah.
Blake Griffin leaving Detroit to go to the Brooklyn Nets and suddenly starts dunking over Kias again.
Well, I will give Blake Griffin credit though. A lot of people thought he was too Hollywood, but I
Mhm.
think he played really hard in Detroit, and he should
He
be.
did, and he
And
was an all-star his first year there. He worked his ass off for that team, and
yeah,
they
and he's one of
obviously are
those.
just going in different directions and are at different points
He's
in their process.
It's crazy to think that that Clippers team, like Lob City, never got a ring, but I do think Blake Griffin, like Chris Paul, and even like DeAndre Jordan, is deserving of a ring. And so now 2/3 of Lob City is closer. But again, don't rule out Chris Paul and the Suns, who we talked about on the Friday podcast. They're right there as well. And you can check out that podcast and this one on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and iHeart. We also have Instagram stuff, Twitter stuff. Henry, what do you think is going to happen with Drummond? I'll give you one more thing to talk about, then we'll head out.
Andre Drummond, that's interesting. I'm gonna go buyout, signs with the Toronto Raptors.
Okay, buyout Raptors.
That's my
Interesting.
guess. Um,
Okay.
I have no insight into that. That's just I think it makes sense for both parties.
Well, you've been pretty hot with picks, so let's put that down.
I have
And
been. So if I get this
and
one right, I am Nostradamus. But if I get it wrong, I have no credibility and I shouldn't have even said anything.
but again, as we said in the first podcast, spoilers not ballers. You don't listen to a fuck about
don't
what we say.
don't have to listen to us whatsoever.
Well, Henry, always a pleasure. Have a good week, everybody. We'll be back on Friday. In the meantime, check us out. All those things. We'll be having a lot of stuff through on social and big things. What are they, Henry?
Big things are coming. I'm glad to finally start getting some real games back in a few days. That'll be exciting because as fun as the All-Star break is, I miss the hustle and bustle of all these games.
Yeah, and we'll be back talking about all of them through the rest of the year. So
Yes,
let's
we
enjoy
will
a couple
be.
days off, King. But the grind doesn't stop. The Warriors don't stop.
Of
And
course not.
I'll see you on Friday, buddy. Have a good
All
week.
right.
Stay
Have a good
safe out
week,
there, everybody.
everybody.
Enjoy it. Bye bye.
Bye.